So everybody smile. I wanted to welcome everyone to the stream tonight. This is Susan for SLC Aquatics. Welcome, and I want everyone to know that my special guests tonight are the Eugenio brothers of Green Oasis Farms, and Michael and Paul are with me tonight. And I had to mute my music because I'm the one that forgot to mute my video. A little bit of music there, guys. So I want to introduce Michael first and let Michael go ahead.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Mike from Arizona. If you haven't subscribed to me, subscribe. Susan's going to be putting the link up in the chat box. But if you have subscribed, obviously, you know I do a lot of DIY videos. I'm starting to rebuild my saltwater tank. I showed a video the other day on how to keep fiddler crabs and how to make a cheap enclosure. But really what we're here today for is to introduce my brother, Paul. Paul's the guy that does a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff for Green Oasis Farms. Anytime you send an email to Green Oasis Farms or you have questions about your product, usually it goes to Paul. Paul's the one that takes care of all those issues as well as a lot of other things. Paul definitely does a lot of the magic behind the scenes. So, Paul, if you want to say a few words to the people who do not know you.
So, well, guys, I'm Paul. I'm all the way from Long Island, New York. And as far as what I, like Mike said, I pretty much do everything behind the scenes when it comes to the actual sales, the questions. I have a lot of different specialties. I mean, I originally started out doing mostly pond fish, koi, but I can pretty much, I have knowledge on everything from guppies to koi. As far as filtration goes, I know what goes, what can go with what, and so on and so forth as far as setup. And I mean, anything in general, even just from like, knowledge about the actual fish. So I pretty much have a pretty wide, broad, a pretty broad, knowledge base. So I'm up for any question you guys have to ask.
And Paul has a YouTube channel, and we'll be starting to put out content starting next week. He's actually filming now for next week.
I'll be updating it. Yeah, and I'll be updating it, pretty regularly too with new content.
It's great. I also wanted to go ahead, and I didn't do what I said I was going to do. I'm going to say hi to those that have joined us in the chat. We had Keith, AMA Aquatics, who recently suffered a heart attack. So he's at home in the UK recovering, and he stopped in for a little while tonight. And the doctor said that it's going to be a day-by-day process and maybe up to 8 months till he fully recovers. So, Keith, you're in our hearts and prayers and for a fast recovery.
Yeah, wishing you a speedy recovery.
Hey.
Yes, thank you. We have
be healthy, Keith.
Aquarium here, who's also from the UK. I also wanted to welcome Chris Fish Room. I recently sent him some ram's horn snails, and he said everybody arrived safely and alive. Flynn's Fish Farm from Canada. He is in the house tonight, one of my great mods. The Toxic Fish is here. That's awesome. We also had to say goodbye to Keith. He had to log off. And let's see who else we got in here. We've got Smeel Kapoor. We've got Gina Tucker Aquariums, who is the Fish Fam aunt. Since I'm her sis, I'm the mom. We tagged her the Fish Fam mom. We've got Oranda Children. We've got Ken Lee. We've got V-Stag, Victor. We have, I think that's it right now that has said anything in the chat. Lumpy Dog and Majestic Animals just joined us. So Barbara Jackson, everybody's chiming in. Make sure that you all share this link. This is going to be an awesome broadcast tonight. I probably will be safe in saying we'll go over the hour because we've got so much content. We've got so much fun in store for you guys tonight. So take time, click like, and if you haven't subscribed to Green Oasis on Facebook, go ahead and click like on the link and visit Facebook and be a part of their business and support them. Also, Michael, Eugenia, I didn't have your link for the YouTube, but I'll find it and also put it in the chat. And Paula, I don't have your Facebook page. Oh yeah, I do have your Facebook page since we are friends. Or do you want me to just share Oasis Farms?
You can share the Green Oasis Farms. I pretty much go live on them mostly.
Yes. I thought that's where I saw your videos. And if y'all have any merchandise links out there that you want me to share, just tell me and I'll look it up while y'all are talking and I'll share it in the chat. So Michael, I want you to go ahead and start us off tonight.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm really grateful that you do that, and it gives everybody a chance to promote what they're doing. It's all about family within what we do. So I'm actually really excited about that. And I do want to mention one thing, because you did mention to like the Green Oasis Farms page. We do weekly giveaways on the Green Oasis Farms page, just so you know, just because we can. We love to give back to all you guys on YouTube, on Facebook, all you who support us. We do weekly giveaways, and we choose random things every week. And it's usually pretty good prize. In fact, Susan was a winner of one of the weekly giveaways.
Yes, I was. I won those beautiful mystery snails, and I think I've even won some plants before too, and I can't remember the names of them now. Was it the red melon? No.
Yep, red melon sword.
And the Anubias.
Yep.
Nana. And
very nice, very nice.
And the vowels, or did I buy? I bought the vowels.
You bought the vowels, and then we've had some water sprite to Josh.
Yes, we sent some water sprite to Josh Joe.
So yep, yes we did. But yeah, that's what I say. When we can give back. We're going to every chance, because the way you guys support us, we want to support you as well. With that said, though, we're pretty excited because we have a lot of big things coming up at Green Oasis Farms. This is actually the first time I'm ever going to announce this, and I haven't even announced this on any of my social media. But Paul and I have been doing some pretty big things in Florida, and we actually are now. We have a spot in Florida that's about 5 acres, and we're actually teaming up with another team, Koi Companion, which Paul was a part of. And we're going to be probably taking, I don't know, about half of that acreage and doing Green Oasis Farms out of half of it. And we also have Paul, which is buying another property in Florida, which will be all Green Oasis Farms. So we're going to get really large, and there's going to be a lot of opportunities for a lot of you guys down the road, especially for those of you guys looking to do some really big setups. I mean, who knows, if we keep growing, if you guys are looking for opportunities for employment, we might even have that too, where it's getting large enough where we might have to take 1 or 2 more people on board. So it's coming, guys. It's coming good. And I really want to say thank you to everybody who supports us, because if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be in this position.
Well, are you able to give the location in Florida yet?
What is it, Riverside, Paul?
Yeah, actually, it's actually, so the 5 acres is going to be in Ruskin, Florida, and which is roughly 20 to about 25 minutes from downtown Tampa. And like I said, yeah, so it'll be that's going to be in Ruskin. And for me personally, I'm going to be in either Brandon or Riverview. They're both pretty close to each other, both on the west side of Florida. And yeah, we're looking to just really expand, and we're looking to really try to touch on all parts of the business. And like Mike said, as well as be able to get more people into the hobby. We want to give back and show everyone, how amazing this hobby can be and how it can really bring people together. And I feel like once you understand it, you really get to know the product and just all the different variety of like anything else, But yeah, we plan to do really big things, and we plan on really, giving back and just, what this could turn into.
So, Paul, why don't you tell them, I think Paul's frozen. Are you frozen? No. Why don't you tell them what they can expect out of the 5 acres, because that one is set up for pretty large fish. Tell them some of the things that we're going to be carrying and what we're already carrying down there at this point.
Okay, so here's the thing. So a couple of years back, about 5 years back, me and my partner Chris DeSalvo, we got into koi fish. So we started doing koi fish and goldfish, which is kind of how, I've been doing fish my whole life, but as far as in like the business aspect of it, we got into koi and goldfish. And what you can expect right off the bat would be definitely koi, definitely goldfish, and all types of koi too. As far as we're going to have Israeli koi, we're going to have Japanese koi. Some are going to be imported. As far as goldfish, we're going to have all types of fancies, such as Orandas, Ryukins, you name it. We're going to be carrying it. And also we're going to have a large variety of marginal plants as well. Stuff like bloody dock. We're going to have all types of water irises, water lilies, even beyond what we have right now, because a lot of the stuff we have right now is mostly good for, you know, your aquarium indoors. Not that you couldn't do them, but we're into more, you know, like, you know, plants that you'd put into your home garden, into your pond. That's what we're going to start off, and then we're going to also build from there and start getting into and then start also we also specialize in breeding angelfish as well. When we were here on Long Island, mostly we had about 11 breeding pairs, so we're going to look to at least have that many breeding pairs going, and of all different types of varieties. So that's really what you're going to be expecting at a Green Oasis Farms. It's definitely within the next 6 months. Within the next year, you're going to see even more than that. And right now, we're just we're just chipping away at it to make it so we can make that a reality for everyone that supports us.
Yeah, I listen, I'm really excited about it. I have to say, this is definitely it. I can't believe, like, we started this business probably 2 years ago, maybe a little bit longer than 2 years ago, but who would have known that it would grow to this size? Nobody would have ever known. It's simply amazing. I can't believe it. It's I talk about when I first met Susan, I think I just hit my 500 subscriber on YouTube. I mean, clearly I'm not that much far along from where I started, but I mean, at that point, business was half of what we're doing now, and it's crazy how we just keep growing on a regular basis. But again, thank you guys, everybody who already knows who we are, everybody who supports us. You guys are literally the reason why.
Mike, I think Susan is disconnected from the chat.
No, I see her. Susan, are you there?
I am.
Yeah, she's there.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
But yeah, you guys are the reason why, like, I get to live out my dream. I mean, it's always been my dream to work with aquatic animals and do plants and be able to talk to so many people about their passions about fish and plants and every type of invertebrate you can think of. And again, we're going to start getting into more invertebrates. I mean, we're going to start carrying nearite snails. We just made an order for those. I know a lot of people were asking about those. We're getting tiger nearites, which are actually pretty fancy looking. We're thinking about doing some crayfish. Who here actually keeps crayfish? Anybody keep crayfish, and what kinds do you keep? Because we're interested in carrying some. We want to see what some of your guys' favorites are.
Well, while I'm watching the chat on that question, Michael, you know that Sergeant Tank Jeremy, he also raises different kinds of crayfish.
Yes.
And he sells them. And I had one of his marbled self-cloning crayfish that she did crawl out of the tank and got into some insecticide that my pest control man had sprayed.
Oh no.
Deceased, but she had molted.
Oh.
And had one bundle of crayfish, but the wild minnows that I had in the tank ain't all the babies.
Oh no. Speaking of which, Jeremy is absolutely a wonderful human being. He does so much for the community, and he's just a great person. I would love to actually do a live stream with him as well, and possibly do some projects down the line with him. I really do believe in what he does and what he stands for.
Yeah, and I know he has the other kind of crayfish too that do not self-clone. It takes a male and a female for them to breed, but I don't know the species that he keeps.
Gotcha.
Gina Tucker says, is a dwarf Mexican crayfish blue?
Is that the question?
Dwarf.
Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, so I actually know I've seen those. Dwarf Mexican crayfish typically aren't. Usually, I mean, there's a couple of different species that actually are blue. The dwarf Mexicans though are usually like more of like an orange type of color.
Mr. Science Geek says, if you guys can breed red cherry shrimp, I know a buyer who would send 500 in every order.
We can get them. We definitely can.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
I can get
red shrimp. We can definitely do that.
I can get red cherry shrimp right now by the truckload.
Okay, great. Lumpy Dog says, dwarf crayfish are awesome, tank-friendly, and peaceful species. I keep them in my planted guppy tanks.
That's good. That's
awesome.
That's good. I would love this. Did they have any videos of that so I can go and check them out later? Or
Lumpy Dog, do you have any videos up? Also, the next person, Oranda Children, says, ooh, nearite snails. I'm trying to see if I can successfully breed them. So, Oranda Children, where are you located? Does that mean you're in Florida or you keep goldfish?
And also, what have you tried to do to breed them? Because I have a couple of good tips.
Okay. Aqua Apprentice, Green Oasis, blowing up. Glad to hear.
Oh, thank you for that.
Gina says, no, I keep a blue dwarf Mexican crayfish.
A blue dwarf. I don't know if I've ever heard of that one.
Yeah, I have. We can get those. Those are nice. Those are really nice.
Keith is still with us, AMA Aquatics from the UK. He says he has liked your page, but he won't be able to order since he's in the UK. He wanted to know if you do ship to the UK any, I guess anything not alive.
I've shipped T-shirts and hats to the UK.
Oh, and also Thrive too. Thrive.
Oh, Thrive, yes, the aquarium fertilizer, yes.
You were able to get that through without being labeled a terrorist?
Yeah, right. You have to be very you have to be very specific on the forms of what it is, because they when it goes to the X-ray machine, they want to know why you're sending so much liquid across.
Yes.
It's not cheap to get it over there, though. That's for sure.
And the customs that they have to pay when they pick them up. Michael Aquarium is saying hello to me, and I just wanted to say hi to Michael. He is in the UK also, and I just wanted to give him a little bit of guidance tonight that we do not ask people to go to our channels. We let the moderator of the program invite people to check out other people's channels, and if they wish, they subscribe to them and help support their channels, but please don't spam that in the chat box. Lumpy Dog says, most recent fish room update video has a brief video of a dwarf crayfish near the end of the video. So on YouTube, look for Lumpy Dog. And Jeff, forgive me, I don't remember what your last name is. So put that in the chat for me. He is on Facebook. I believe, I'm not going to guess, but his first name's Jeff.
Okay. I'm going to try to find them right now on my phone.
The Amphibian and Fish channel is a young man named Corey. Susan, can you outlink to their channel in the chat? I want to sub. Yes, I'll do that again for you. This is on Facebook, and then I'm going to do Michael's YouTube channel.
And once Paul starts putting out content, I'll put a link to Paul's YouTube page in my descriptions as well.
So is it Paul Eugenio on YouTube?
Yes.
I'll look it up.
There's going to be a picture of me holding up my fiance, or actually I think it's me walking with my fiance. You'll see it right away.
Okay.
That's so she can find you. Sometimes you can't find people on YouTube. It's kind of interesting. YouTube hides people, especially when they don't have any subscribers or videos or whatever.
Yep. That's what happens sometimes.
Thank you, the Amphibian and Fish channel. I see that you subscribed. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any more questions? I got you, Paul. You came right up on top.
Thank you.
Lucky for you, it took me a long time to come up on my search.
And you have a new subscriber, and I hit that notification bell. So as you present more content, we'll be able to see what's going on in Green Oasis Farms. So this is Paul's link I just entered in the chat. Flynn says, for the brothers, what are your favorite and least favorite fish?
Go ahead, Paul. You start. You start.
So, all right, I would have to say, I have a couple of different I'll say favorites because, but as far as my favorite interactive fish, the one that I really enjoy the most has to be some of the koi. I love koi, and the reason why is because they just get so big and they're amazing, and actually. I won't show you guys this time, but I do have a koi tattooed on my leg as well. That's how much I love them. I absolutely think they are the most amazing fish to keep, along with goldfish, of course. Goldfish are cool too, but also the reason why I like them so much is because they're all pretty unique. But now, as far as my least favorite fish, I would have to say probably Oscars. Now, and I'm going to tell you why. I don't actually dislike Oscars. I just don't really like keeping them because they get gigantic, which is not a problem, but they eat everything. Everything and anything they can eat, they will eat it. You know, and as far as making a mess, they are a little bit messy. Some of them eat your plants. I like to keep fish that I can usually keep plants with. Obviously, me and Mike are really big into the whole live plant thing, so you know, I have to have some sort of color in my tank. And Oscars are beautiful, but not with plants or with anything else that's small.
Or
Okay,
anything that can
Michael,
fit in their
before
mouth.
you answer, back to the question of what they're doing with their nearite snail. Orlando Children says they're from Florida too. I'm incrementally adding marine salt to my nearite tank until it reaches a specific gravity of 1.022.
That's good. That's really good because that's coming up on like a little bit more than brackish actually. Like 1.020 is like brackish, a little bit higher up. So you're right in the right range. What you really want to do though is keep it there, or if you want, keep it at 1.023 or all the way to 1.025. That's kind of where like a reef tank sits. Their eggs actually will start to hatch between 1.022 and 1.025. So you're actually on the right track.
Awesome. Okay, your favorite and least favorite fish.
Okay, so I have a brand new favorite fish. Brand new. If you would have asked me a couple weeks ago, I would have said something completely different. So for those of you guys who do follow me on YouTube, I got two puffer fish, right? And they're saltwater actually. I can go through my favorite freshwater fish too, but my two favorite fish right now are, one is a porcupine puffer and a dogface puffer. Now those guys have personalities like I've never seen before. Now puffers usually do have great personalities, but these guys particular, because they're big. My porcupine puffer, and he's only half grown. He's about 6 or 7 inches, and he's about as big and as wide as my fist. And the dog face is about as big as him, just not nearly as wide. He's more narrow. But those guys actually, when they see me come in the room, you would swear that they were like dogs, and they pretty much wag their tails and follow me around the tank, and they're awesome. Those are the coolest fish I have. Those are my favorite at this moment. Least favorite fish. Again, I don't actually have a least favorite freshwater fish, but I have a least favorite saltwater fish. And then we'll talk about my favorite freshwater fish after this. But my least favorite saltwater fish is called the purple dottyback. Now, it's a beautiful fish. It's about 4 inches fully grown, and it's bright purple. But the problem with that fish is it's super territorial, and it will go after anything in the tank and will kill anything that gets near its territory. So you have to keep them in very large aquariums, even though it's a small fish. And you really can't keep any fish that is shaped like it. And pretty much it is a common shaped fish. It's not oddly shaped. So anything that's kind of around the same size, in fact, even bigger, I've had that fish go after tangs, and tangs are way bigger than that fish. And that's my least favorite fish. For as far as freshwater fish, again, I don't have a least favorite freshwater fish, but I would say for my freshwater fish, my favorite freshwater fish would have to be at this time, would have to be my discus, only because it is actually quite rewarding to keep discus alive and watch them grow and become super colorful and vibrant as they get older. I wasn't a really big fan of them when I first got them because they hide a lot, but I spend a lot more time, thanks to Paul's advice, a lot more time in front of the tank while feeding them, and now they're kind of taken to me a little bit more. But those are kind of becoming my favorite freshwater fish.
That's awesome. Well, they don't want me to know. They didn't ask me, so I won't.
Well, but you should get into it, Susan.
Well, my favorite fish is the fancy guppy. As a child, I kept guppies, but now they're labeled as endlers. Mine were wild caught out of the freshwater intakes of the the Potomac, up in Northern Virginia at Colonial Beach. Mine were in the freshwater area, and an elderly lady kept in fish bowls, and no filtration, no heat, just guppy grass. And within months, I had hundreds of guppies, and that's how I went from the fish bowl to the fish tank. And we took a break and got back into the hobby in my young adult years, and went through a house fire and lost a 55-gallon tank and all of its inhabitants. And just the last 3 years, January will be 3 years that I've been back in the hobby. And when I saw these long-bodied, long delta, delta caudal tails, dorsal fins, the the strains that they have developed over the last 20 and 30 years. I had to jump right on into it. And from there, I've picked up the Siamese fighting fish. I love them as far as their body structure and personalities, but as far as my luck with bettas, they're complicated in keeping because they show, these that I got show so much aggression, but it's entertaining to watch them attack my snails. They hate my snails. Watch the flaring and the body shifting, smacking the snail up against the glass or the plexiglass, and then diving after them as they fall to the substrate. They don't kill them. It's just part of the game. And I've acquired through my 55-gallon that I bought from Gina Tucker, the gouramis and the common Pleco, which is, I found out to be a rhino Pleco. She is absolutely beautiful, but I'm having to rehome her because she's already 10 inches and she will soon outgrow the 55. She uproots everything I plant. The only thing she hasn't uprooted has been the valves that I stuck at the back of the tank.
That's funny.
And anyway, and my angelfish, they spawn almost every week. The last spawn was the furthest that they got in the spawn, and I actually had a cyclone of babies swimming around, and the very next morning they were all gone. So this is spawn number 6, and it looks like it's gone bad with fungus. So it's time to break that tank down and get rid of the fungus that's in there. And I probably need to invest in some, is that Mirror Light Blue or something?
Paul knows.
Hey, yeah, I was gonna say I've actually, well, it's a good thing you. I'm glad you said that. I've personally done. I mean, I would have to say at least 500 to 1,000 successful breeds, and I actually can tell you what I personally do with angelfish. So it's called methylene blue. What I do is I personally do not let my angelfish raise them. I do have pairs that do raise their fry. However, I find that putting them in a separate tank with a separate bubbler and a little bit of methylene blue keeps the fungus away. But there are some times actually where I think that all the eggs are fungus, and then I just go, wait a second, and give it. And then sometimes you'd be surprised. It seems, and then like all of them hatch, and I'm like, oh my goodness. So as far as breeding angelfish, that's pretty much, I would say, one of my specialties. I've done a lot of different kinds. I've done koi angels, platinums, blacks, marbles, everything, golds. So as far as that goes, if I were to tell you, if I were to give you a suggestion, Susan, keeping them in a smaller tank off the bat is a lot better. So when you breed them, a lot of people think, oh, give them a lot of room. There's a lot of them. Do that is because when you feed them, which by the way, I feed them really baby brine shrimp. I hatch them myself, and from about the 3rd day that they hatch, what I've noticed is if you can get them past about 7 or 8 days, about 3/4 to almost all of them will live. And what I've noticed is the reason why putting them in a smaller tank is better is because you can literally put the food right in front of their face and they'll actually be able to find the food. If you don't do that, unfortunately, they're going to die. I've tried it. When I tell you I have failed hundreds of times, but once you get it and once you start getting it consistently, it becomes a lot easier. But the methylene blue, I do use that. However, I have done breeds without it, and it does work without it. But if you're having your angelfish raise them, yeah, definitely don't use that if you're going to have them raise it. But if you're going to do it on your own, yeah, a little bit doesn't hurt.
Thanks,
and
Paul.
If anyone has any questions more, you're very welcome.
Yeah, I will add to that in a minute, but I'm getting behind in chat. It's jumping like crazy. I should have slowed it down at the beginning. But someone, let's see, Orlando children said they raise guppies in the backyard for fun. And Gina Tucker said, oh, she's talking to Aqua Apprentice. Big Easy's in the house. Ask Mike what sales he's got going to give on the stream tonight. So Big Easy, hang in there. We'll bring up something here in just a few minutes. Chris Fishroom says guppies are great. Eileen Queen joined us. Hello, Eileen Queen. Mr. Science Geek says, Susan, my guppy grass is finally taking off and the duckweed is too. Well, thanks so much, Rick. I'm glad to hear that. I know it looks like it dies off, and then all of a sudden it comes back with a vengeance if you don't alter the water chemistry, because it's really sucking up all of those nutrients and getting accustomed to the water when it looks like it's dying back. And then, like I said, I brought like 6 little bunches of duckweed home from Georgia one day, and it looked like I lost it all. You know, I'm like, where did the duckweed go? I don't know where it went. And now it's in all of my tanks. And how it got in all of my tanks, I don't know, unless it was from the same gravel back. Everybody has experienced that, right? Y'all are laughing. I know you've experienced that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I support a look called duckweed arm. Every time I go into my fish tank, I look like Swamp Thing coming out. My arm's all green.
I've literally had duckweed and
Gina brought me some Salvania,
Oh yes.
and that's just as bad as duckweed. Go ahead, Paul.
Oh, I was gonna say I've had tanks where I'm not even kidding you. I didn't even put duckweed in them. I swear I never put and then all of a sudden the whole top is covered with it. A lot of times it actually comes in on other plants and you don't even notice it, and then boom, you have it, and you can get one piece,
Yep.
and that's it.
And
You got more than what you know what to do with.
But you know what?
gift that keeps on
Goldfish
giving.
love it. Goldfish love it.
Oh, they
Yes.
do. Oh, they do. That is absolutely for sure. If you want, in fact, I'll tell you what. I have a pond upstate New York that was covered. When I say covered, Susan, covered with duckweed. We bought about 15 or 20 koi, put them in there, and literally that took care of the problem. We went to the guy, and he was like, "Oh no, you just buy koi, and they'll take care of it." Boom. About 2 months later, gone. And I'm talking about a pond, a mud pond, about a half-acre pond, gone.
That's awesome.
So yeah, koi and goldfish definitely take care of that. Yep.
I'll tell you what, we can laugh all about duckweed all we want, but duckweed funded our business. It funded all our startup costs.
It did.
Duckweed,
Thank God for duckweed.
duckweed, for all you young entrepreneurs out there thinking about doing something, duckweed funded it in about a couple of months' time, about $2,000 in sales, and we bought our first system with that.
So the
Yep,
history
yep.
for Green Oasis Farms, they were founded on duckweed.
That's right. That's why we keep green Oasis Farms. That duckweed.
And that's why the goldfish is smiling. Look how smiling that goldfish is, because he's got some duckweed.
And I'll tell you what. Think about the next second worst thing you can have in your fish tank, and that's also the other thing that funded our second system. What do you think, Susan? What do you think it was?
The second thing, valves.
No. Think of something that you wouldn't want in your tank at all.
That I wouldn't want in my tank. That's bladder snails.
Green hair algae. Green hair algae was the next thing that people were buying and made us another couple $1,000s to be able to fund more systems.
What were they feeding the green algae?
Koi.
Koi. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Because I love it in my tanks.
Yeah.
I've got it back here in my betta tank now.
Well, that's great that you like it, but like the 99% of the world hates that stuff.
I just love that. I love my tanks to look natural.
Yeah.
Oh yes, that is 100% the best look.
Oh, and actually a quick tip about green hair algae. If you take it out and dry it out and you plant it in like a terrestrial plant in the soil, it's actually a good fertilizer. When it breaks down, the plant eats all the nutrients out of the algae.
Yep.
Well, I do not remember the name of the company, but here on YouTube, I received a personal, private message when they watched some of my videos, and they produce a product that just produces that green slime algae in a filter, and they use it mainly within that filter just to purify the water.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. In fact, I made one of those.
Yep.
I DIY one for my saltwater tank. It's called an algae scrubber.
Yes.
And it's on a reverse system, and the water trickles down the green hair algae. It grows, you scrape it off, and as it grows back, it just consumes the nutrients in the fish tank. It's the best source of filtration you can have.
Rob Hicks Aquarium says, I had duckweed and I wanted to keep it, but it all died. I think the only way to kill duckweed is if you do want it to grow.
Right. If your tank is too clean, your duckweed won't grow.
That's
Yeah,
it.
that is true.
And I'll tell you what, guys, if your tank is too clean, you won't have a successful tank. Your fish will end up dying too. You do need some nutrients and microorganisms to be able to eat those, and the fish eat those. It's just one big ecosystem. There are people I know personally that clean their tanks so much they can't even keep guppies.
Yeah, I know one now that I watch on their channels, and to me, they over clean everything, because every time they do a water change, they clean everything out, but somehow their fish are still living, and I don't know how that's happening.
Maybe they're getting new fish every time they make a stream.
Person Vlogs is in the house. Hello, good to see you.
I'm going to be going live with Fish Person vlog soon as well.
Very good. How is it going, everyone? Nice to see you, Susan, Michael, Rob, Aqua, everyone. And while you're also here, I'm introducing Paul to you. And he's just saying hi to everyone. I'm trying to catch up because I'm at the end. Barbara Jackson said, so I can feed my aquarium plants trimmings to my koi. Yeah.
Yeah,
when she trims her plants, she can feed it to her koi.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What kind of plants?
They pretty much eat almost anything.
Yeah, Barbara, what kind of plants are you trimming? And just let us know in the chat. Orlando, let's see, Lumpy Dog says, what's guppy grass good for? I cut handfuls out of several of my tanks every week. It dries up very nice. Looks like decorative moss from a craft store. Hey, use it for fertilizer too if you want.
Guppy grass? Yep, exactly.
He needs to
guppy
sell
grass. Well, yeah, guppy grass. Really, what a lot of people use it for is because if you ever notice how it grows, it kind of grows like very like tangly and very It's the reason why they call it guppy grass, because if you put that in your tank and you let it really grow out, it's a really great place for the fry to hide after the guppies actually live birth them, and then it gives the guppies a great place to hide and grow. Because believe it or not, if you have a blank tank and your your guppies actually have babies, the guppies will eat them. But if you have guppy grass and a lot of it, the fry will literally hide within the grass till they grow big enough to where they can swim, free swim around the tank.
Yeah, Paul, Lumpy Dog has, I don't know how many tanks of guppies. So he has other fish too, but he's recently redone his rack. So check out his channel if you get time.
I would love to.
Fish Person Vlog says hi to you, Paul. And
what's going on?
Yeah, Chris Guston says he's laughing at me. He said, I might be one of the clean tank freaks you're talking about. No, Chris, you weren't the one, but I do remember you doing that. He's OCD. He can't stand algae to grow. He'll break everything down, and he'll scrub the algae off. But he's got brackish tank, he's got freshwater tank, and in the past he's had saltwater tanks, and he's thinking about maybe going back to saltwater.
Saltwater is a great thing. It could be very frustrating though, but I love saltwater myself.
Kingley says, I don't have goldfish or koi. What do I do with all my duckweed? Well, you scoop it out by hand, bag it up in a sandwich baggie, and you ship it out to those people who want duckweed to feed their goldfish.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. Duckweed is being used in a lot of parts of the world for hunger problems. So what they're doing, in fact, there's a company out here in Arizona who had reached out to me because they know I grow a lot of duckweed, and they actually grow a lot of duckweed as well. And they go to places like Honduras, Southeast Asia, things like that. They teach people to set up these systems to grow massive amounts of duckweed. Then they sterilize it in like a food grade hydrogen peroxide, and they dry it out. They make bars out of it. They make all kinds of things. People eat it. There's actually a lot of protein in duckweed. I have never tried it myself. I hear it tastes like lettuce. I have never tried it, but I can tell you that they're trying to end world hunger with things like duckweed.
Well, I'm smiling because earlier in the year, do you know Chaz from where is he from? Peru? Chaz's Fish Channel?
Yes.
Okay. We did a duckweed challenge probably around March, April, or May. I can't remember. And Charles's Fish Tanks was also part of this group that we were doing the challenge. And some of us went ahead and just grabbed it out of our tank, rinsed it under the spigot and tasted it. And then Charles went to reminding us of all of the microorganisms and bacteria and all that stuff. And I think the challenge got cut off really fast. Yes, it does taste a little bit like the succulents that grow wild in my yard.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the name. Starts with a P. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a succulent that grows wild in my yard. And to me, I've tasted that. I've also tasted the leaf off of my yucca plant because they said it's a great anesthetic. Anyway, it helps with pain. I can't think of words tonight. But anyway, Dwayne Kitchell's in the house tonight. Some folks grind guppy grass up and make shrimp food out of it. True.
Yes.
Barbara Jackson, that feeds her plant tripping cuttings to her koi, is she has water wisteria, valves, duckweed are mostly what she trims and feeds to the koi.
Oh wow! I mean, that's good. Anything like that is good for koi. I mean, they'll pretty much eat. I mean, if it's part of the healthy diet for them, they'll pretty much eat anything. That's great though. That's like some of the best stuff to feed them. Absolutely.
Okay. Fish Person blog says, any cool fish for a 40 breeder? I'm setting one up in my school.
So I mean, a 40 breeder, you could do a lot of stuff in a 40 breeder. You want to go ahead and you want to tell them, Mike, what you think first?
I'll let you take the reins since people want to get to know you a little more.
Okay. I mean, so in a 40 breeder, you can actually do a variety of different things. I mean, if you're looking for something that breeds easily, I mean, definitely stuff like mollies, swordtails, guppies, those are always good. If you want to do something that maybe is a little bit more challenging, something that will give you a little more reward at the end, maybe rams. Rams are excellent. Those are, cichlids. You could do African cichlids. There's a lot of African cichlids are very, very popular amongst the hobby. A lot of people love them because of their colors. They're not that hard to keep. Once you have steady parameters, it's very easy to keep African cichlids. I would absolutely recommend something like that. But I wouldn't keep anything like anything that gets too big. Small 40 breeders a good size, but mainly for the stuff that I was talking about, the like smaller cichlids mostly.
Okay. Susan, are you still there? I think your camera went off. We might have lost Susan. And I don't hear you anymore.
Yeah, I heard.
Okay,
what about now?
Yeah, I hear you. All right. Well, we lost Susan, but I do have actually a surprise for you guys. I'm going to be doing a drawing at the end for a live giveaway. And I did mention this on my Facebook page. It's going to be for a Green Oasis Farm snapback hat. So we definitely have these for sale on the website, but one of you guys tonight will be lucky enough to win this. I've been entering in the names on my random drawer on my cell phone, and one of you guys will be randomly picked at the end of the stream.
That's awesome.
Oh, we got Susan back.
Yeah,
Yes,
I have
Susan.
to step away for a minute, but I'm sitting here listening to your announcement. Right now we have 29 viewers, and wanted to make sure you got everyone. Are you just putting those that are typing, or
anybody who's interacted in the chat box?
Okay, because right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4.
If you have not interacted in the chat box, interact in the chat box. I'll continue to enter names in there that have not entered in.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Well, I don't count. 16. Priscilla's been sick with an ear infection and bronchitis. Honey, I hope that you get well soon, and I hope that the antibiotics that you're having to take are working soon. Lumpy Dog had to go. He's been enjoying it, but he's got miles to run. Yeah, he runs marathons, so
nice.
Go ahead, Lumpy Dog.
Awesome. Good for you.
Yeah. Aqua Apprentice says, fresh hat. Nice. Flynn's Fish Farm, bless his heart. You did say U.S. only? Did we forget?
Yes. Oh, yes. U.S. only because I have to ship it. So. Yeah. Actually, you know what? It's a hat. I can get it over. I can get it other places. We can do that. I'll do that because I didn't mention that. If it was a plant, that would be a different story. But it's a hat.
All right. Thanks, Michael.
Let me add some more people in there now.
Yeah. KP Aquariums. Hey, Corey. He says, I need a new hat. Kingley says, you could never have too many hats. Let's see. Oh, Relaxio's in there. Hey, Relaxio, welcome to the stream tonight. Aqua Apprentice pointed at himself. He says, interaction, interaction. Oh, King Lee says, lurkers come out, lurkers come out. Mario Alves Jr. is in the house. Hello, Mario. I believe he's out there in Sonoma, California. I hope those fires have calmed down and people are being able to get their insurance assessments and hopefully rebuild from the losses that they've had in that area. Our hearts go out to everyone that has suffered either from Texas to Florida to the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, even up in some of the East Coast there where, was it not Connecticut, Delaware, Rhode Island area caught
Yes.
some of the storms. I don't know if there was any physical buildings damaged, but and our friends in Mexico that had that horrible earthquake, you know, I did a GoFundMe account, and my heart still goes out to everyone and those that have gone through these tragedies of these shootings, you know, killing multiple people. Egypt even went through a bomb blast and shooting. To over 250 people were killed at a church there. So I mean, it's everywhere. I don't want to put a depressing note on things, but our hearts go out to our friends internationally in the Fish Fam community. So remember everyone in your thoughts and prayers. And
Absolutely.
we've got Rickard Rocks is in the house. He is from, oh, help me, Rickard. No, I was thinking about Nick. I don't know where Rickard Rocks is from.
Not sure, but I entered him in. He's entered in.
You're entered in, Rickard. I'm curious what the brothers' favorite plants are, KP Aquarium says.
My favorite plant would have to be a Madagascar lace plant. That's my overall favorite. It grows massive, and it literally is the most unique looking plant. I mean, there are other ones, but it really, as far as easy, people say it's not easy. Trust me, it's easy. Use organic potting mix or possibly root tabs, and that plant will take off, and it'll do better than any other plant. It's really low maintenance, in my opinion.
So root tabs, but not necessarily CO2.
No, I don't use any CO2 in my aquariums that have that in there.
Okay, KP, I hope that answers your questions. How about you, Paul? You have a favorite plant?
I do. So for me, I would have to say it's a really big toss-up, but I would have to say a Apongitone olvaceous bulb, well, and the olvaceous plant. The reason why I love those so much is because it grows so fast. It is absolutely amazing, and I'll tell you why it's actually so amazing too, especially if you're big into betta fish. The bettas love to hide in them. The leaves are perfect they look like true. They're amazing looking.
I'll have to get a picture and figure out what that looks like.
Oh yeah, I have a couple of them in my tank. They're in fact in one of the videos on the Green Oasis Farms page, I have a video of Apongitone boyavanus and Apongitone olvaceous, and also that plant as well as the Madagascar lace plant. They also throw off flowers. Those plants too.
Yes.
Okay.
They look amazing.
And if you don't have a Facebook, if you don't have Facebook accounts, I would suggest getting one. Stay private and join some of our groups. Go to look for Oasis Green Farms and look for SLC Aquatics. And if some of our mods can grab those links for me, right now my screen's covered up. And Flynn was asking, how do I enter the giveaway?
You already entered as soon as you messaged in the chat box.
Right. Michael is entering you on his random selecting software on his phone. And anyway, a few minutes before the end of the broadcast, we will draw the winner, and the prize is one of the hats that he's got there. So that's something I've always wanted. I'm wearing the shirt though. Thank you, Michael. Oh, let's see. That's what Barbara Jackson just said. You just did, Flynn. Jeremy must be in the house. Where's Jeremy? Jeremy. Oh, there he is, Sergeant Tank Pets. Hello, Jeremy. Welcome to the stream.
Hey, Jeremy.
Got to get him entered.
Jeremy, let
Going
me
on,
enter
Jeremy?
Jeremy. Jeremy, like I said, I'll always say it. I'm a big fan of yours, Jeremy. You're a good guy.
Everybody's saying hi to Jeremy. What did I do, Rob Hicks? Good for you, Susan. You know, there's a delay and everything. Priscilla says, uh-oh, please enter me, LOL. Oh, Rickard Rocks is in Sweden. You know, I was going to say Switzerland or Sweden, but he's in Sweden.
That's okay.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
It's okay. It's a hat. We can get it over there if he wins.
Dwayne Kitchell said, brothers, one of the cichlids I always recommend is the Jack Dempsey. Yeah. Dwayne says Jack Dempsey. He's been trying to coerce me into getting one to try. I told him I don't like mean fish.
Oh, man. Yeah, Jacks can be real mean. Beautiful, but real mean sometimes.
Oh, I've seen them in schools in heavy planted tanks, and they do pretty well together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We got DH Aquatics in the house, which is Dusty. Hey, Dusty. Hello, everyone. I'm working on a research project on the fish industry's lack of regulation. I'll be listening, but lurking. Ha ha.
Ooh, man. So just out of curiosity, so what was I gonna say? What kind of stuff is she researching on the on as far as regulations go?
Yeah, we talking freshwater, saltwater? What are we talking?
Yeah, come on, Dusty.
I'm kind of curious myself.
Yeah. Big Easy says he needs to ship me one. Okay, you got to ship the tank too, Mark. I don't have any empty tanks right now. And I'm not going to put it in with my gouramis. Do you have to be there during the drawing because I may have to leave early, Flynn says.
You know what? I'll make an exception.
All right, he'll make an exception, but we hope that everybody hangs in there to the very end. Dwayne says to DH Aquatics, regulations from the government in the past 20 years is shorthand for stopping aquarium fish and pets from being sold, period. That's Dwayne's definition of the regulations.
Gotcha. I mean, they're doing some good things over in Hawaii. Like you can't even really get fish from Hawaii at all anymore, especially in the saltwater trade. And that's really apparent when you go snorkeling down there. Now, I haven't personally been there. Paul's been there, but I've actually seen some videos, and the reefs are really filling up with a lot of fish now. I mean, not that they were ever really disappearing, but there's a lot more now than there have been in the past, 5 to 7 years.
Yeah, I mean, when I snorkeled down there, I mean, I was able to see a really good portion of what, of what it's like. And yeah, I mean, the locals, especially in a lot of these areas, are really, really against it. And you know what? I kind of understand. I kind of understand. I mean, you're talking about, dinner plate size tangs. I mean, you really shouldn't take stuff like that. I can understand where they're coming from. So yeah, I agree with that. And I definitely understand that.
What I'm really happy about, if you guys have ever heard of this, now comment in the chat box if you have, Ocean Rider Seahorse Farm. Those guys are doing some remarkable work in Hawaii. They're actually doing a lot of breeding projects for fish that were not known to breed in captivity, like the yellow tang. They're working actually on a blue tang project now as well. So a lot of these common fish that we see in the local pet store, especially in the saltwater trade, a lot of them are wild caught. Most of them are wild caught, and they're really trying to get it. So we have now captive bred ones, and they were pretty successful at breeding the yellow tang. They still have a little bit more work to do, but at the end of the day, they're still doing something really remarkable down there. Once they get that squared away, we're going to start to see a lot more, preserves and everything going up in the wild, especially in spots where there used to be an abundance of fish that are no longer.
You know what? Real quick, Susan, can I actually just talk real quick on what he was just talking about, real quick?
Go ahead.
So I actually personally visited that farm. I visited Ocean Rider when I was in Hawaii, and what their main goal is actually to try to they're actually trying to really breed with what they call the sea dragon, which looks like a seahorse, and it's actually it's the rarest type of like they call it a sea dragon. Like I said, it's the rarest type on the planet, and they literally have actually successfully bred it. And they've been working on it for years. I personally saw it myself with my own eyes. It's absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, it's the leafy.
It's phenomenal. It's amazing.
Leafy sea dragon, correct?
Yes,
Paul?
yes, yep, yes.
And
Leafy, absolutely, 100.
I'll
Yeah,
tell
that's
you
what it
what,
is.
Susan, it's so rare that you can find them in Australia, and it's so rare that you have to pay Australia $15,000 for a permit to get one.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
incredible.
I have a question for you guys. Fish Person Vlog says, what are the effects of bladder or pond snails in your tank?
Well, it depends. So me personally, they don't bother me so much. I tend to, if you keep a very clean tank and you have them, they're going to eat your plants. But if you keep a tank that gets a little bit of algae, they're going to go for the algae first, and they'll clean the leaves off your plants. They could annihilate your plants. But again, if your water's too clean, that's the only food source that they have. They're very good. They're a very good cleanup crew, and a lot of fish will eat the babies.
Just in my
my
experience, the bladder snails, they just breed so quickly that you don't have clear view in your tanks. You have to constantly keep them, hand picked out, or get you some puffers or a loaf that eats snails, which I do have one coming. His name is Henry.
Nice.
CJ Black has sent him in the mail. And I will do research and do a species spotlight when I do the unboxing. Somebody is planting, Rob Hicks Aquariums is in Canada. He says, I'm thinking of doing a dirty tub this summer for valves. Any ideas I should think of to make it grow?
Yes. So don't do much. Organic potting mix. Keep that at about an inch deep, and do about 1.5 inches of pull filter sand. Make sure it's covered. Don't keep it in direct sunlight, because you will grow more algae than you know what to do with in there. So as long as it gets indirect sunlight, you will be fine. But direct sunlight is a big no-no with that type of nutrients and that type of lighting. You will get more algae than valves. But if you get indirect sunlight, so I would say if you go on Amazon sometimes sells these shade covers, and they do like 50%, 75% shade. I would do like a 50 to 75%, depending on where it is in your yard or wherever you're doing it. And just keep that over the top, or keep it at a spot where when sun's overhead, it's shaded. Because again, you will lose all your, not that you'll lose all your valves, but they will be completely covered in green hair algae if you don't keep them shaded. But they will grow with very little light outside.
How deep does that tub need to be? And also, does he need to be careful about not planting the cap above the root under the soil?
Yeah, so yeah, he can stick it where the cap is just a little bit above the root. I would say I do the best with valves when I'm anywhere from 15 to 24 inches deep.
I hope that helps, Rob. I'm back down to the end of the chat. Which one of you was the troublemaker growing up? My money's on Paul.
Oh my goodness. You know what? Hang on a second. I got to speak on this one first. So let me just explain something to you guys real quick with this one. Let me tell you something, because this is actually, I'm glad that this is brought up, because I'll tell you a little bit about
what he's going to say.
I'll tell you exactly how me and Mike were, or Mike, I should say Mike and I were growing up. So now, by the way, just to let you know, so that role was definitely shared, but Mike, let me tell you something about Mike from Arizona. The greatest guy you'll ever meet, but he is the troublemaker. He's not a troublemaker. He's the troublemaker. Let me tell you that. And we also have another brother as well. I'm the youngest of 3 brothers, and let me tell you, I've gotten more wedgies than I can count on one hand. But you know what? I gotta say though, from the time when I was a kid till right now, I can honestly say, I mean, things. As much as I thought Mike was maybe mean when I was a kid, I gotta say though, as adults though, we are absolutely best friends like you wouldn't believe. But yes, Mike is definitely the troublemaker. Not that I can't be, but Mike's definitely the troublemaker there.
I would say I'm definitely the instigator. I mean, not that I've purposely done it, but me and my brother Chris, my middle brother, we've probably broken. How many times did we break your arm, Paul? Playing wrestling, playing whatever. Like, we've broken Paul's arms. You know, he used to have a retainer that back in the WWE days, and we watched that. He got a retainer ripped out of his mouth by my other brother. Paul's been beat up pretty bad.
But you know what though? After all that abuse, I shine like a diamond still. I'd have to go ahead and say, but I don't know.
But we had a lot of fun growing up, especially in Long Island. We had a lot of fun there because we got to grow up with the Great South Bay, being on the water, go to the beach. We can actually collect our own clams and crabs and go fishing. So we did a lot of good things as kids growing up, especially.
We did, and then you know what? I gotta say too, I would not be into the hobby if it weren't for Mike. Absolutely not. No way.
I'm listening, you guys. I'm also having to say hi. We've got 30 viewers right now, so we need to add Kyle Weltner. Kyle's Wild World is in the house. Hello, Kyle.
Come on, Kyle. Hey, Kyle.
Woo-hoo. We got Captain Spicy in the house also, and if you all have not checked him out, you need to go check him out. He does the most animated videos on snails. I never knew snails had so much personality, and he is hilarious.
Love it.
So, and you can check him out. Mother Nature's Aquariums is in the house. My dwarf puffers love those snails, those bladder snails. Yeah. Michael, if you kept a red fin catfish before?
Have I? No, I have not. No, I have not.
Man, they're humongous. Don't you need 200 gallons for them?
You know, actually, I'm thinking about getting one for the summertime and putting it in my 300-gallon stock tank. I haven't decided yet. I want to do something that gets really monstrous and do. The only thing I'm afraid of is if we get too big, if we do an underwater GoPro video, that it will eat the camera because they could just inhale anything. You know, that's what I'm afraid of.
I've watched them swim around with their tank mates, and then all of a sudden, I'm sizing you up, and then one gulp, they're gone.
Right. I'll tell you what. Put in the chat box. Let's do a little bit of a vote. If I can get any monstrous fish that I can do once it starts to get warm here, which will be in about the end of February, it'll start to get warm here again in Arizona. If I could do any monstrous fish to grow it from now until pretty much December of next year, what should I do in that 300-gallon stock tank? And even if I could do a couple, what do you guys think? Literally, the sky's the limit. We have access to almost any fish that we can possibly dream of. Okay,
go guys. Enter it in the chat. What monster fish should he do? And I'm going to answer your all's question about the regulations a while ago. Dusty said, I'm just looking at laws from 4 states and comparing them to a common non-aggressive dogs. I'm also checking news sources from the states to see if they have reported anything about invasive species. So they're saying dogfish or dogs. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not sure, but I know that there are invasive species almost everywhere, and it's not a good thing, especially those snakeheads. I know in upstate New York you have the snakeheads, and you have those in the canals in Florida.
The what?
The lionfish have become invasive somewhere.
You know what? I'll tell you.
Everywhere in the bay. Everywhere in the bay by us. It's a Great South Bay. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what though, Susan. This is what my trouble with the lionfish though. I'll tell you what. I really love that fish as an aquarium fish, but at the end of the day, if it's an invasive species, but what they should be doing, and people are taking advantage of the fact that it's an invasive species, and they're teaching people that they can eat it, which is fine, right? You want to get rid of an invasive species, make it a meal. But I was talking to my supplier in Florida, and he's like, well, it's $20 a pound for a lionfish. Why charge so much money for a fillet of something that's an invasive species? Why not make it cheap? Supposedly it tastes very good. I'm yet to try it.
That's that great.
Isn't it actually a type of grouper? Oh, I'm sorry.
It is a grouper, yes.
Yeah. Angelo's in the house. Hello, Angelo. He's also in Canada, and he just got blessed with a very large aquarium over the Black Friday. And if you haven't been able to watch his video on him setting it up and transferring his fish, check it out. He says he's sorry he can't stay, but he wanted to stop by and say hi. I hope everyone has a great night. Bye. And we love you too, Angelo. Kyle says, how do you make Java fern grow? Mine just dies and makes the little baby slowly.
That's funny you say that. Paul actually does really well with Java Fern. In my tanks, the Java Fern go through a life cycle really quickly. They die off and grow back little leaves really quickly, but then they just continue to die off and do the same thing. Where Paul's actually had Java Fern grow really well. I think it has something to do with water hardness. So if you have hard water, Java Fern does not do well. So you kind of have to have soft water. Where actually what's interesting about that, in New York, the water comes out of the tap almost at 0 ppm, which is amazing. Considering like here in Arizona, I'm like 600 to 700 ppm out of the tap. It's crazy how hard the water is here. So I think when you have a softer water, Java Fern tends to do better.
I mean, personally, from my experience growing Java Fern for one has to be deeply. It could free float in the system, but really it does better when the roots are attached. And the roots really grow into other stuff. Java Fern roots get really big, and it can actually almost like a lot. Which, by the way, a lot of other plants can do this too. They can actually be grown into, like, for example, like driftwood. The roots can grow into the driftwood, and anything that pretty much has like surface area, it will grow on. So that's really one of the most important things with Java Fern. It really has to take root good. And also temperature is a big factor. And yes, like Mike said, water hardness is big, but really temperature is really big. And again, and because lighting, as far as lighting goes, it can be in lower lighting. In fact, I've had Java Fern grow in almost no lighting, to be honest.
I feel like it prefers lower lighting, actually. The higher lighting tends to make it melt faster.
Yeah, my Java Fern does really well too. And I have moderate to hard water, but I have medium gravel in most of my tanks. And I have not attached my Java Fern to anything, but the roots do grab onto the little pebbles. And so when I do lift a plant, they're full of pebbles. So the roots have found something to anchor onto, and mine grow about 6 inches. I think mine are the medium Java Fern anyway. And they get the new babies on the ends of all over their leaf, not necessarily just on the end, but they can break down and start growing new leaves anywhere on that leaf.
Yep, absolutely. And actually, too, another tip too for that stuff. If you guys have Java Fern that completely melts away, just save the rhizome. The rhizome will grow new leaves. It's almost like a plant you can't really kill, even though it looks like it dies. The new leaves will start to come on that rhizome. I've even seen it 2 years without any growth, and then it comes back.
But we're over the hour, so if you want to go ahead and do a drawing right now, because there's still some questions in the chat, but if you want to do a drawing, go ahead at this time.
All right, so I'm going to have to press the button and let it zoom in. So let's press that button. Okay, let's see.
Move it over a little, Mike.
I am. Hold on.
There you go.
What do you guys?
Aqua print.
Congratulations, Aqua got it.
private message me on my Facebook page, or private message me through YouTube your address, and I will ship you the hat. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Aqua.
Excellent. That's awesome. Good for you.
Oh, everybody's still saying hi to different ones. Gina says, is this a freshwater or saltwater we're talking about? And I don't know what the question was, Gina, so can you repeat that? Kyle says, how hard are they to catch, the lionfish?
Lionfish are not that hard at all because they're very aggressive. So if you're near them, they won't scare away. That's for sure. They'll come at you. People actually spear them. So that's how they catch them, because they can literally the fish are not threatened by anything. They don't really have any predators.
Rob Hicks says, my Java Fern just have never taken off. It always looks bad, but it lives.
It's exactly. It's a zombie plant. It's just it doesn't matter how bad it looks. It's still going to be somewhat alive.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Aqua Apprentice is doing the happy dance. Congratulations. Okay, guys, if I missed any questions, please repeat them again, or when this video posts, please enter them in the comments. Y'all did not give too many answers on that large fish. I saw a few things. An electric eel, so we can watch him get shocked. That's what Kyle.
Yeah, that's not happening. I'll send the electric eel to Kyle.
Somebody said, Dwayne says Dovi.
Okay.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Says bull shark.
Bull shark. I'd have to do a kind of brackish water.
Kyle said lungfish.
Lungfish are cool too.
Aqua Apprentice said bowfin. I don't know what that is.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look it up, but I think I know what we're talking about there.
And Aqua also said a snakehead.
Okay.
Oh, those are so. I'd be so afraid to even go near that thing with the snakeheads in there. Not to mention that they can jump out of there and possibly get into my other systems.
Oh boy. Let's see. It said a bull shark. Captain Spice said a bull shark can live in both freshwater.
Yeah, yes, it could. Yes, it could.
Val's is in here. Val's Albo won one of his Kyle's contests and forwarded the plants to me. And Kyle sent 7 different plants to me, and I was like, wow.
Nice.
I still haven't learned the names of all of them. He sent me some Vals. He sent me an Amazon compacta or compacto or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And this it's a little plant that's 2 inches tall and has really curly leaves. It almost looks like a very small palm tree, and I don't know what those chain plants are. It was
maybe it's a chainsword. Is it a chainsword?
It's different from the chainsword because the chainsword comes, the leaves come up on the chainsword or along the rhizome, but this one has long stems under the substrate, and then it comes up a little green. Anyway, if Kyle knows what it is, he can holler it in the. And then I also have another red sword from him, but it's not like the
It's
red.
not a melon.
Sword. Yeah, it's a different sword. But anyway, Val's Albo, he blessed me with his prize. Dwayne says RO water in the tank at all will kill Java fern just like Val's.
Yeah, that RO water without any type of ferts or any minerals, that you'll see a decline in your plants. They will melt away and die. That's for sure. It's too soft.
Yep. Gina Tucker says if it's salt water, she wants you to get a cowfish.
My wife has been begging me to get a cowfish, and I still can't even do it because the tank now that I'm going with, that 200-gallon cube I have, it's all aggressive, and cowfish, they're not as aggressive as some of the fish I've added. So.
Cap Spicy says he grows Java fern in his brackish pond.
Yep.
Yeah, that could work. Absolutely.
That might be the key right there.
Captain Spicy says his pH is 8.2.
Nice. That's very good.
Chris wants to know, first of all, I missed his question earlier, which will take us around Robin's Hood Barn, but Chris wanted to know how and when y'all got into the fish hobby. And his second question is, do you guys own nano tanks?
Okay, so I'll start. I've been in the hobby. I've been in the hobby probably since I'm about 4 or 5 years old. I had my first fish tank then. I've also, which I don't really share now because I don't have anything currently, but I've also been into reptiles since about then. I've always had fish, reptiles, nano tanks. I did when my son was born. One of the local pet shops gave my son a 3-gallon reef tank, and it was actually really nice. And I had some really nice sun corals in there, which you actually have to hand feed. They don't really do anything with light. They don't have any photosynthesis. So I was doing that for a while, but then it just became too much with all the stuff I have going on, and I ended up giving it back to them because that tank, believe it or not, nano tanks are a lot more work than bigger tanks. A lot more maintenance to be done.
Okay. So, and now as far as me, I've been into the hobby. Actually, I got into the hobby from Mike. Mike used to actually work at a pet shop, which actually I want to real quick give a shout out to. He used to work at one called Charlie's Aquarium, but now a lot of the guys who work there, it's now called South Shore Tropicals. And Mike used to work with them as a kid. So he was into it then, and obviously being his younger brother, I was always into a lot of the stuff he's into. And also, my other brother is into the hobby as well. He also worked with them as well, but then I kind of picked it up with them, and then I kind of started to take it in my own direction more with like the business and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I would say, I'm 27 now, so I would say I've been into it for probably almost all my life, probably 25 to 27 years at least.
That's awesome. Okay, Kyle said he sent the red Reuben sword
Red
and
Reuben, yes.
Lymphnophilia heterophylla.
Okay. Yep. Very nice.
Don't even know which one that one is, but thank you, Kyle. Chris Guston says Java Fern does well in my low-end brackish tank. Yay!
Nice.
So actually, Susan, I have an interesting story. I don't know if this ever happened to anybody on the chat box. So the other morning, I go to the post office like I do, and I usually go to the post office between 5 and 6 a.m. to drop off all my shipments for the day. So usually I have about 20 to 30 boxes a day that go out, sometimes more. But this particular day I had 40. I had a lot more, so I had to take several trips in there. And I ran into this woman in the post office that morning, and it was the craziest thing. Completely humbled me altogether, because she had asked me, why do all the boxes say live on them? And I said, well, I sell, a lot of live betta fish and plants and all kinds of things. And she goes, wait a minute, are you that Mike from Arizona? And she completely recognized my voice, whatever. She hasn't, and she was like, I can't believe I ran into you. I watch all your videos. And as I see her get in her car and drive away, she had a bunch of like Petco and PetSmart stickers and stuff all over. I'm like, yep, that's definitely one of the people who watches my videos. That's for sure. But I was completely recognized in public for the first time. And I said, wow, I can't believe somebody actually knew who I was out there from something I actually do on YouTube.
Oh, awesome. YouTube and Facebook.
That's
yes,
yeah.
Michael's a star.
I was for that moment. I was for that moment.
Oh, that's great. Michael Aquarium says, Michael, for you, can you keep a Pleco in a pond outside? Not sure what the name of the Pleco or the kind of Pleco it is. It's one that grows an inch a month. And Michael lives in UK.
Well,
so
in the UK, you probably have trouble with that. By me, I can tell you right now, I currently have Bristol nose plecos still in the unheated system. And the unheated system, it gets to about 48 degrees at night, and the Bristol nose are doing just fine. Common plecos I know people that keep them in their ponds out here, common plecos, and those guys grow about an inch a month. I'm not sure about keeping them in the UK in a pond, but I know here in Arizona, the water temperature, I think the coldest you're going to see is probably about 45, a little bit colder than what it is now. And people keep common plecos with no problem, with no heaters. So I think, though, the trick is that it has to be slightly larger once the cold months start to come in, because if it's smaller, I don't think it's as resilient to the cold.
It's going to be a trial and error thing. So if you don't want to lose it, it'd be better not to put it out there in extreme colds.
I'll tell you though, some of the ones these people have out here in their ponds are just massive, like massive 2-foot fish, like ridiculously massive.
Well, believe me, I've thought about putting mine in the goldfish ponds on my porch, but I don't think she's quite big enough. She's about 10 inches and about 3.5 inches girth.
Right.
So I think she's too small to do that.
I've actually here in New York, and I'll tell you right now, New York is probably maybe I'm wrong, but probably the most similar to the UK as far as temperature goes. And I've actually kept plecos outside for the summer months. I've kept plecos outside from May, probably from about May to about the beginning of October. And I will tell you this, I threw it in there at about 3 inches. And by the way, I kept it with huge, huge koi. I threw it at about 3 inches. By the time the summer was over, it was about 8 or 9 inches. So it could be done. It definitely, but he not all year round though. If he keeps it all year round, it's gonna die.
Yeah, I agree with that. Ruru 2's in the house. Hello, Ruru 2. Who's a stalker? I don't know who he's talking about being a stalker.
Oh, maybe the person that found me at the post office.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Oh, because they probably followed you home and you didn't know it. Just kidding.
Right.
Oh, Gina enjoyed the stream. She's got to go. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you later.
We'll wrap it up. I don't see anything. Let's see. Kyle said at the very end, there are certain South American fish that might work. Pandacories, Apistogramma pandura, come from mountain streams that get a bit colder.
That's true.
And, and Kyle told Ruru too, you would know who the stalker is. Gary Swinney said, hey, Susan and guest, freshwater fish freak, hola. Hello, hola, amigo. ¿Cómo estás tonight? I'm getting ready to wrap it up. We came on at 6, so I hate to say hi and bye, but I wanted to tell Michael and Paul, thank you so much for being my special guest tonight. You guys rock. So
it's an honor.
Oasis Farms. And my prayer for you guys is for you all to go above and beyond and grow. Remember, the sky is the limit. And to those that can support them, even word of mouth, go on Facebook to Green Oasis Farms. Follow them on their YouTube channels. Michael Eugenia, Paul Eugenia. Paul's going to be putting out some more content soon. And we just appreciate everyone. Congratulations again to Aqua Aquariums or Aqua Apprentice.
Aqua
Apprentice for winning the Green Oasis baseball cap tonight. And if you'll check out on Facebook, you said every week you do a giveaway.
I do giveaways every week. Yep.
So check them out. And if you don't have a Facebook account, it would be well worth your time to go make one. So we appreciate you. We're going to sign off for right now. And we love you guys. Susan for SLC.
Oh.
Have a good one, guys. Talk to you later.
Bye, guys. It was very nice. Very nice. I really enjoyed this. Thank you, Susan.